time to put on a happy face, guys, because you know what we got today? We got ourselves a movie review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Joker Folie. First off, Folie, that's a freaking Fall Out Boy album. Now, before I watched it, I actually had read a lot of reviews saying that it was bad, and I even saw Moist Critical's video on it, and he hated it. Everybody hated it. First off, constant musical numbers. What's the point? Second of all, the name. Folie. Honestly, they should have just said Joker 2. But if you take Folie and translate that from French to English, you actually get Madness of 2. Which honestly makes a lot of sense. And when I turned it on, I thought, this can't be that bad. That was until I saw the intro. It was like this cartoon crap, and my first thought was, oh lord, what the hell am I getting myself into? This film takes place about 2 years after the events of the first one, so if you guys want me to do a review of the first film, let me know. By the way, slight spoilers ahead. We're gonna try and, not do a lot of spoilers. But this film takes place during the trial of everything that he did in the first film. And they, discuss him having like a split personality or something, and like there was like a whole singing class where we meet Harley, who they actually refer to as Lee for a few times in this film. Then there was like a scene with like this Joker kiss, which I'm gonna be honest with you, whenever I first saw it, I thought, hey, does this mean Harley's single? I'm sorry, guys. But the guy that he did that with in this film, we're going to return to him towards the end of this video because he does something that kind of pissed me off a little bit. And it may have some implications for the lore of this particular Joker timeline. Anyway, so we see like multiple musical numbers, which is a lot of people's issue with this film, the musical numbers. Like, what's the point? Like, I get it, Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix have nice voices, but like, what's the point of these musical numbers, especially if you're just going to reveal that they're just hallucinations just a bit later? There was also a bunch of random stupid jokes throughout this movie, which was just what? They actually try to encourage Arthur to tell jokes throughout the beginning of this film.
Fuck, you got a joke for us today? I already asked him.
Speaking of jokes, I do want to point out something. There's something about a joke towards the end of this movie, but along with the guy Arthur kissed at the beginning, we'll get to that later. So Harley and Arthur have a little chat, and they start talking, and she says that she burned down her family house.
You killed 5 people. One live on national television.
I set fire to my parents' apartment building.
Which we can actually see with her burning this piano right here. Honestly, murderer x arsonist, that actually sounds awesome. After she burned the piano, they actually went to escape, which they didn't make it out. They didn't make it out. And then there was this little interview with Arthur where he just went freaking ballistic on the guy. There's multiple scenes with his trial. And let me just say this now. Arthur's lawyer freaking sucks. Seriously, Harley would have been a better lawyer. Honestly, can I just say, casting Lady Gaga as Harley actually makes sense if you think about it. Especially in the context of this movie, because they both have freaking beautiful voices. And I know what you guys are thinking. Lady Gaga's ugly. Harley's supposed to be beautiful. In my eyes, I happen to think Lady Gaga is actually kind of pretty. Hey, come at me. Also, there's like a thing in this movie where she lied about burning down, her house, and, is actually just manipulating him, which honestly does kind of fit with, like, the DCEU lore if we're focusing on what Pat said about him actually being Robin, but whatever, we'll focus on theories later. But apparently she did this to get him to like her. Honestly, this is exactly like how it was in the comics as well as the DCEU, just minus the Joker being extremely abusive. Also, there was a whole thing about her being pregnant, which may have happened because of an interaction they had. Now, that could be a lie, but that's also something that canonically happens in the comics as well. Anyway, so Arthur fires his lawyer and decides to represent himself as the Joker. Honestly, representing yourself, honestly, go for it. I mean, if you lose the case, it's your fault. We then get a brief cameo from both Sophie and Gary from the first movie, which honestly, I love both of these characters, so This made me happy. Mainly because I just like the Sophie character and I kind of relate to Gary, you know, because of how short I am. We also get multiple cameos from Harvey Dent as the opposing lawyer, but then something really funny that happens towards this dude happens towards the end that happens to literally every single Harvey Dent, but we'll get to that later. Also, there's like this phrase that keeps getting repeated over and over from Harley and Joker, mountain from a hill, whatever that means. Honestly, it instantly made me think of the phrase, don't make a mountain out of a molehill, which essentially, come to think of it, I don't even know what it means. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. An idiom used to exaggerate the importance of something trivial or make a small problem seem bigger. Long story short, that line, don't make a mountain out of a molehill, essentially means like, don't take a problem that's this big and make it this big. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a reference to that. It might be like how in Suicide Squad, like as soon as Joker and Harley, you know, escaped from the mental institution, they basically became the king and queen of Gotham City. From this point onward, Joker goes full on Joker mode. Whenever he is in Arthur mode, it's like, he's pretty chill, he's calm, a little bit crazy, but he's calm, don't worry about him. But when he's in Joker mode, that's when you should be worried. Real quick, I want to point out a couple things. First off, Joaquin Phoenix has like this line on his upper lip. Now, everybody has like a little indent right there on their lip, but like he has one right next to it, and honestly, if I could meet him one day, I would ask him about that. If you guys know why that's there, can you let us know in the comments? Also, can I just say that the police force in this film freaking suck? Like that scene where they are walking in the rain, they don't even have the decency to give Arthur an umbrella. Like, I get it, they could do something dangerous with the umbrella, but come on, you don't have to let them just be drenched in the rain. Or literally every time that they are in the same room with Arthur, they're just freaking abusing him. This police force sucks. Now, Arthur then later says that there is no Joker and it's just all him, which then results in Harley leaving and later on threatening to check herself out of the Hotel of Life, for lack of a better analogy. Arthur is then seen as guilty, but then that results in an explosion. Now, remember earlier when I said that there was a nice reference to what happens to every single iteration of Harvey Dent? Well, for a brief moment, we see Harvey Dent as Two-Face, just sitting there on the ground. That is freaking awesome. For those of you who don't know, Two-Face is another villain from the DC Comics. His real name is Harvey Dent, and he is a freaking, like, just absolute all-around good guy. But then the Joker causes an explosion, which results in half his face getting deformed, which then results in half of his brain getting burnt, which results in him having to flip a coin so he can make up his mind. By far one of the most iconic DC villains. Arthur then goes to escape, but then we see this guy who is literally dressed up like the Joker. Like, it's uncanny how much he looks like him. Now, I have no idea if this is just a fan of the Joker who, you know, dressed up like him to go represent him, or if, like, the explosion resulted in the Arthur and the Joker side getting split, Twisted Metal head-on style, but this never gets explained. I'm going with the former here. I don't think that the explosion would cause the split personality to separate. Arthur then runs away from the police and goes to meet up with Harley. Harley then ends things off, even though she is literally pregnant with his child. The movie then ends with Arthur getting arrested and then getting stabbed in the gut by a fellow inmate after a really bad joke. Now, this inmate is the same guy he kissed at the very beginning, which then resulted in me making that joke about Harley Quinn. But then it cuts back to the hallucination where Harley shoots him in the chest. Now, this is confusing. Like, this is almost as confusing as the ending of the first movie. Arthur then dies, and the guy who stabbed him starts cutting his own face and laughing like the DCEU Joker. So that was Joker Folie Deux. What the hell? Not as bad as what people said it was. It was confusing, but it wasn't that bad. Now, I have multiple things I need to say, like, why were there so many musical numbers? I liked them, don't get me wrong, but, like, were they really that necessary? Next thing, having Harley freaking manipulate the Joker and then give up on him at the end of the film, Why? If she loves her pudding so much, why would she do that? Now, I will admit, some parts of their relationship was pretty similar to the DCEU and the animated and comic universes. However, it is missing quite a few things, like Harley being forever faithful to Mr. J. However, I do like the addition that they are not making him an abusive boyfriend, so I like that. And as for the guy who was cutting open his face like that towards the end of the film, honestly, I don't really have much to say about him, aside from he may be the Joker from the Batman. For those of you who don't know, we actually did a video where we discussed all the different Jokers, which we will be leaving in the description. And we talked about a Joker played by Barry Keoghan, who was in the Batman. He looks like if Heath Ledger's Joker didn't give a crap on whether his face was stitched up or not. So could this have any implication for like the future of the DCEU or the future of DC films? I don't know. But I want you guys to leave your theories in the comments. If I was to give this movie a rating, I'm gonna have to give it a solid 5.5 out of 10. Honestly, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't really love it either. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as ring the bell to receive notifications so you never miss another upload. If you guys have any other movies you want us to review, leave them in the comments down below, and we probably will in the future. But yeah, if you guys want to watch some more, we'll leave that video we were talking about right here, as well as another video chosen by YouTube for you guys. We'll also throw a playlist right there, as well as a button to subscribe to our channel. And on that note, this is Miner signing off for now. I love every single one of you guys. You guys are awesome, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.